Hello and welcome to the Sands of Time review channel. It is your host, Sammy Thunder, back at it once again. This time I wanted to bring a much more unique video for you guys, and that is my state of the collection. I'm doing it in the middle of the year because I had some watches that were actually, in service, and I actually got them back recently, so I'm happy. And I just wanted to do a state of the collection and, go through my watches, my collection philosophies, and also what I might pick up in the future. So please stay tuned while I go through my collection, and I'll go through it in a order of acquisition kind of. And this doesn't actually showcase every watch I owned because I've gone through a buying and selling phase. So there are a lot of watches that, unfortunately we don't get to see here, but I have a state of the collection of 12 watches with me, and I'm going to go through them with you guys right now. The first watch I ever purchased, actually, or first mechanical watch I purchased, was a Seiko. It is the Seiko Turtle. This here is the Save the Ocean Turtle. I kind of love at first sight. Time and Tide did a very good video on the Seiko Turtle, and I had to pick one up. At that moment of time, I was watching videos and everyone was telling me to get an SKX, and I just disliked the fact that the movement itself didn't hack, I believe, and hand wind. So it was just the automatic watch, it didn't really hack, but the Turtle actually had the 4R movement, and it's something I appreciate. This watch itself has been a battle watch for me. It really is a watch that has, back when I started university, I was wearing this watch during all my exams as a timer, and because of these events, actually, I wear this watch whenever I do anything important. It could be a meeting at work that's important. I'll actually wear this Seiko Turtle. It has a lot of meaning, So it's the most sentimental piece right now in my collection. It is the Seiko Turtle. Off to the next watch that I purchased after that was a Larker. I was on eBay and I really wanted a Flieger or pilot style watch. So I saw this Larker Augsburg Blue Stund on eBay. Someone was pretty much selling it mint condition for a really good price, and I've had this watch for 3 years now. I guess this watch here is just such great utility. It's just a 50-meter water resistant watch, but it's so utilitarian in nature. I wear it to a lot of events, and it gets a lot of feedback. Actually, people care about this watch. So that's the Larker Augsburg Blue Stund on my wrist. It is a very beautiful blue dial, Type A Flieger, affordable, and it houses the Miyota 8 series movement. Funnily enough, this is a pilot watch that doesn't hack, but I can live with it. I know the modern Larkos with the Miyotas do hack, so that's something to note. The next watch that I acquired actually was a dress watch. And this watch here is the Tissot Lockley. The Tissot Lockley actually was a gift from a precious friend. He kind of started the watch journey with myself, and we just went ham in collecting. And eventually, he was acquiring a lot of watches, and he actually gifted me this as a graduation present. I really value it. And I think this is probably one of the best looking and best value dress watches. A funny thing about myself and dress watches is that I have always sold my dress watches. So he actually gifted me this because this is a dress watch I can never sell. I can never sell it. And it features a nice engraved case back, and it has the Powermatic 80 movement as denoted on the dial itself. Beautiful watch, a lot of compliments as well. It's just a well-designed watch, and I have to appreciate it, Tissot, for making these kind of models. The next watch I got again was also a gift. The Swatch. The Swatch Big Bold Jelly. A friend got it because he wanted to actually get something fun. But, you know, he had gifted me this watch. I wish he actually kept it because, you know, it was a fun watch for himself. But he actually, you know, he gifted it to me. So the same person who gave me the Tissot gifted me this watch. And I wear this actually whenever I'm not serious or I'm going to a fun event. I'll actually put this watch on, and it actually wears very comfortably. I love the silicone strap. I mean, this is cool. You know, everyone's talking about the what's that release? The Moon Swatch release. I mean, this is pretty cool, to be honest. It's fun. It's super comfortable, and you know, it's not a serious watch, and I like it. So that's the Swatch, and those are my only gifted watches. So the next watch that I actually acquired was this Yma Rally Graph. You know, back in the day, early in collecting, I really wanted a Mecha Quartz chronograph, right? And I didn't want to buy an homage watch from Dan Henry or the likes. And I was doing a lot of research on this brand Yma, in fact. And it was actually owned by Seiko at one point. But, you know, you can actually find vintage Ymas on the market. You know, they're a very good watchmaker. And they're very prominent in racing heritage. And you can tell just by looking at this watch, you know, it has that race car subdials. It's cool, vintage. And I really appreciate it. You know, I do enjoy this watch. It features a mineral crystal, which I've yet to scratch, an aluminium bezel with the tachymeter scale. It really is a great watch, and I've put it on a Time and Tide Club NATO strap. Actually, it's a Erica's original, so it's an actual Erica's original Marine National strap with the orange, and I like how the orange accent kind of matches with the red accent there. And I've kept it on this strap ever since. It's comfortable to wear. I don't even have to latch it out. And that's the Yma Rally Graph on the wrist. I do enjoy wearing it. I don't wear it as much nowadays, but nonetheless, I'm happy I got this watch, to be honest. Because I didn't buy another cheap homage. I think I bought a great watch. The next watch I acquired was this Full Metal GShock. I mean, this watch is phenomenal. It literally looks and feels, you know, kind of like the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. And I love the bracelet. I love how you have the holds, or not really the holds, the kind of like the drilled sides of these links. They're great. The machine quality on this watch is excellent for the price. And it's radio controlled, even though in Australia radio control doesn't work at all. This watch is still wonderful. I mean, the finishing, it's an excellent sport watch, and I've worn this watch quite a bit. It just looks amazing on the wrist. It's beautiful. Just look at how that plays with the light as well. It's beautiful. I love looking at this watch. It has all the features, you know, of a, you know, perpetual calendar. So I don't really do anything. Connects to Bluetooth on the phone. Feature packed, 200 meters water resistant, and it's a GShock, last of all, so it's shock resistant. I love this watch. I think it's fabulous. I love this watch a lot. Probably my favorite watch in the collection would be this GShock, and honestly, I've been tempted to get that $5,000 square metal GShock. It's tempting, but I've controlled myself, and I'm happy I have this. And you can kind of see the battle marks that I have on this watch, the scratches. You know, when I first got this watch, I really didn't want to scratch it, but now I just don't care. I love how it looks. I love how this watch will age in the future, so I'm looking forward to that. And that is the Full Metal GShock. The next watch I collected was the Doxa Sub 300T Diving Star. I mean, It all started with Gordon Ramsay, actually. I was watching a lot of Gordon Ramsay while I was procrastinating as a student, while I was studying for exams, etc. And what I noticed was he had a yellow watch. He had a yellow Breitling, I believe a chronomat. And what I noticed is that yellow, it always stood out. He has worn vintage Submariners, he has worn IWC pilot watches, he likes his vintage watches, but what I observed was yellow is an extremely distinct color and very eye-catchy. It grabs a lot of attention. I thought to myself, who makes the best colors in, flat matte colors? And I was looking at Doxa. I love the Doxa Sub 300T. I love the bracelet. Beautiful beads of rice bracelet with the Doxa Turtle case. The finishing is great. It really is a beautiful watch. It's 1,300 meters water resistant, and when things get a bit hot, I press this button and I have this amazing micro adjust system. The finishing is also great. I really enjoyed this watch, and I'm gonna, this watch is a keeper in the collection. It is not going to go anywhere, and that is the Doxa Sub 300T Diving Star. In fact, Doxa is such a brand, it motivates you to keep on collecting from its own brand. I heavily respect this brand. I urge people to look into it because they have affordable option with the Sub 200. They have the Sub 600T, the 300T, the 1200T. They have the 300 with the vintage boxed crystal and the slimmer profile. And I opted for the one with the helium release valve. I specifically asked for one because I wanted that heritage. And it has a very nice display back. Well, just a closed case back. But the star of the show is that cushion case, beads of rice bracelet, and that yellow dial. And that was the motivation for the Doxa. The next watch I acquired was the Stova Marine Original. Another German watch brand. Who would have known? I do like my German watches, but I also like a good manual wind. I mean, this watch here is so readable, actually. A lot of people have commented on the watch and they like it a lot because, number one, it's so legible. It can act as a desk clock almost. Traditional watchmaking at best. Thermally blued hands. Sub-seconds at 6. And when I turn it around, I have such a beautiful view of the Stova movement, 6497 based. And it features a swan neck regulator and very nice German finishing touches to it. It really is a beautiful watch. I like looking at the case back, but I enjoy wearing it paired with this nice strap that I have here with it, the Stova buckle, Epsom leather strap, that is Epsom taupe is the color, and I enjoy wearing this watch quite a bit. I wear it a lot actually. Because it has such great wrist presence. So I'll give a wrist shot of the Stova Marine Original. And the wrist presence on this watch, it's huge. It has a lot of presence, and I enjoy wearing it. So that is the Stova Marine Original. The next watch I purchased was kind of like a first big purchase of mine. It was a love at first sight kind of watch. The Grand Seiko SBG M221. I mean, this watch is phenomenal. I love this watch. I think there's no Grand Seiko out there that kind of rivals this watch in terms of, a timeless design. This is fabulous. I've seen so many other Grand Seikos I wanted to get, but I just gravitated towards this one. It wasn't anything to do with price. I had the money to buy, a snowflake, but I chose this watch. I think this is a phenomenal watch. It's classy and sporty, fully Zaratsu polished case with the elegance line. the dial itself is mesmerizing. It's just, you know, the dial sparkles, you know, the indices, they just sparkle and grab any kind of light out there. So I'll provide a quick wrist shot on that. I'm not wearing it on the stock strap, even though I love the stock strap as well, but this is what it's on. It's on a crocodile, a blue crocodile strap, and I'm actually going to source a Grand Seiko buckle for this. Another one, not the one on my stock strap, but a different one, and that's the Grand Seiko SBGM 221 on my wrist. And no video does this watch justice. No video does it justice. So I'll move on to the next watch that's in the collection that I got, and it was the Grand Seiko SBGH 001. Apparently this is the first high beat movement for the Grand Seiko brand, you know, with the 9S85 caliber, that is, specifically the 9S85. So it's the first model to actually house the 9S85 movement. And it features the 61 GS case. This watch, I got it as a trade. You know, I really wanted a high beat movement watch, and it comes with the bracelet and everything. It's the old school, you know, say double logo with Seiko, Grand Seiko, and I love the movement of the thermally blued second hand that is gliding away at 36,000 beats per hour, so 10 ticks a second. It really is a beautiful watch, especially, you know, with the bracelet. I really wanted to have the Grand Seiko bracelet, and that is the watch on my wrist. And just for reference, my wrist size is 7.1 inch wrists, so it's a fairly large wrist. And you know, this watch has, it's kind of like an alternative to, let's say, a Rolex Oyster Perpetual, but it packs a bit of a more of a punch with the high beat movement, the Zaratsu polishing on the case, the heritage of the Zaratsu case. It's a great watch, and that's just the display back. It's the same display back really as the SBGM 221, but this is a high beat watch. This is also a sport watch, everyday sport watch. It has 100 meters of water resistance with a screw down crown, so it really is a grab and go everyday piece. And I love the text on the bottom. I prefer the SBGH 001 instead of the SBGH 201 because they just write the automatic text there with the single Grand Seiko logo, and high beat in such a generic font really is a bit ugly, but that's the Grand Seiko text that you have there, and the high beat 36,000 written in blue, matching the thermally blued seconds hand. Great watch, like the stick indices. It's different to the SBGM 221, but there's something sublime about the SBGM 221 that I can't really compare. But this is a silvery dial. We're in a nighttime environment, but in daylight it appears as opaline white. It's a great watch. I guess the next watch that I acquired was this Tissot. So this is the first Tissot that I purchased. The first Tissot that I actually received was the gift from my friend, the Tissot Lockley, but this is the first Tissot that I purchased. This is the Tissot PRX in PVD gold, 40 mils. I thought this watch is fabulous, man. This watch is absolutely beautiful, and the videos don't do it justice. You know, the dial, I liked the brushed metal dial. I liked the use of the quartz movement because I prefer the accuracy and reliability of quartz. I have too many automatic watches, and I already have a Powermatic 80 in the collection, so why would I want to add another one again? So here we have the Tissot PRX. This watch was one of those watches I simply wanted to have. It screams much more value than what it actually is priced at. You know, I feel like it punches above the weight in terms of watch offerings, especially in the modern day. And that is the Tissot PRX. The next watch, or the last watch in my collection actually, is this vintage Seiko. So this Seiko here is the Seiko Lordmatic. It is a gold-plated watch from the 70s. It has a lot of heritage to it, in the sense that it features the Seiko grammar of design, or Grand Seiko's grammar of design, as you can see with the sharp edges or the plates. But not only that, it was actually a watch given to commemorate the efforts of the people that were working on the railway industry. I don't know too much about it, but it was a commemoration gift to those people. And I like the fact that it features the kanji date wheel. I really like it. And if I'm being honest, right, this has an unserviced service history. We don't know if this has been serviced. There's no history to it, but the watch is keeping accuracy or time to around 42 seconds a day, plus 42 seconds a day. I think that's pretty neat for a vintage watch, especially something that just hasn't even been serviced yet. It is a monoblock case, so it is front loaded. So everything has to be taken out from the front in order to access the movement. And you can actually read that kanji script. That'll probably give more information on, what this watch was meant for. So it is a water-resistant watch, stainless steel caseback with the 5606-7000 movement, the Seiko Lordmatic. Beautiful watch. And I'll just give a parting wrist shot to the audience. And that here is the Seiko Lordmatic on wrist. Vintage watch, smaller proportions, but wears amazingly for a vintage. So that kind of ends it with my state of the collection. 12 watches with me. I don't know where I'll go from here, but it fills up my watch box. I have a 12 watch collection right now. So yeah, I'll have to think about what I really want in the future, why I'm collecting watches, because at the moment I feel like I've reached a state of nirvana. I'm in a state of peace. I do like to own in the future some watches. One watch is the Tudor Pelagos left-hand drive, or the Tudor Pelagos in blue. I don't mind, but I do prefer the left-hand drive. And always, with myself, if I can pick up a Seiko, I'm always gonna grab one. So that's kind of where I'm actually gonna go from here. Is I have some long-term collecting goals where I do want the Tudor Pelagos, but I also want to enjoy myself in the hobby by acquiring some of the Seikos out there, that have been newly released. So I really want the new Marine Master 200 in the Save the Ocean line. It has a beautiful minty blue dial, or Antarctic dial. So it's like a light blue tinge, but it features a texture very similar to what you'd observe with, say, the Grand Seiko White Birch. So I'm very keen on looking at that release. But that's where I am going in the future. I can't predict it, but I'm happy with what I have, and I think everyone out there should be happy with what they have, because there have been some moments in my collection journey where greed overcame, and I was selling some amazing watches and I regretted them. I regretted the decision big time. I should have never done so for some of those watches. So I want people to actually be happy with what they have. I know the hobby, we like to interact and keep on trying new watches, but be happy with what you already have. Establish a baseline, actually, would be a recommendation. Establish a baseline of watches that you would be happy to pretty much keep for the rest of your life. So, thanks for watching. It's the Sands of Time. Peace.